The setting is Cambridge, England, 1977. Otto Frisch sits at a small table, scribbling notes to himself in a pocket-sized notepad, checking his wristwatch. Dana arrives. Frisch half stands and motions her to a seat.
Sorry, I'm...
Late. What do you say your name was again?
Dana Barron, the playwright. I wrote ahead.
Yes, it's in my book. Somewhere.
I appreciate you agreeing to meet me. It's not every day I get to meet such a famous man.
Oh, spare me. Flattery won't change anything. Fact is, I've granted this audience in order to dissuade you.
Dissuade me, but I haven't proposed anything yet.
How old are you, Dana?
23. Old enough to recognize injustice like a punch in the gut.
Oh, you've just confirmed my worst nightmare. You're here about my Aunt Lisa. You read an article somewhere about how she was persecuted under the Third Reich and forced to flee her laboratory in Berlin.
And how she was passed over for the Nobel Prize 10 times, 47 nominations.
Yes, you've done your homework. All the same, Lise Meitner would not have wanted your pity.
I'm not here out of pity, Dr. Frisch, but admiration. It's not too late to set the record straight. Don't you want to see your aunt claim her rightful place in history? Why let a smarmy revisionist like Otto Hahn have the last word?
Smarmy revisionist, Hahn, huh? Oh, that's good.
You laugh?
Young lady, if you had any idea, not the Hollywood version, the day-to-day, the not knowing.
My father's told me stories. He was a GI, part of the division that liberated Dachau.
Oh, and so you have inherited that horror.
It wasn't forced on me, if that's what you mean. Not the way it was on you. I've read your father was interned there.
Briefly.
Even so, if you'd rather not talk about it.
If I look back, I leave history to that pallid cadre of scholars whose greatest joy is to cloister themselves in a moldy archive for years on end.
I take history and I make it personal through stories. I want to tell Lise Meitner's story.
Don't think me harsh. No one was more devoted to my aunt than I. If I thought that things could be different than they are.
I understand. You worked on the atomic bomb. I would hardly expect optimism. But still, if I were to write such a play, imagine hearing your aunt's words spoken on stage. I love physics with all my heart. It is a kind of personal love, as one has for a person to whom one is grateful for many things.
That was my Tante Lisa. She gave herself heart and soul to physics.
Which is why she deserves to be remembered for the pillar she was.
Young lady.
Dana,
what makes you think yourself qualified to write about an era you didn't live, a regime whose brutality you can't possibly conceive, and a woman with whom you never even exchanged as much as a good day, Fräulein Meitner? Who are you anyway?
No one, really. I have a degree from Cambridge.
But your accent.
Yeah, I'm a Yank. Foreign service kid.
And you studied science.
English lit, actually. My first play was just produced in London.
The West End.
Off, but the reviews were stellar. One critic called it raw.
Just raw.
Dr. Frisch, I know what you're thinking. How does this pubescent little nobody have the cheek to quote my aunt and talk about her pathetic little play? Do you think it's easy to sit here vivisected by your preternaturally evolved brain? Is it utterly unthinkable that I might genuinely care about Lise Meitner and feel a deep affinity and have something of substance to append to her legacy? You know, what's the use? I shouldn't have come.
Wait. I want to show you something.
Frisch retrieves a photograph and hands it to Dana, who intently studies it.
Your aunt and Hahn. When was this taken?
1938. November 1938.
But your aunt had already fled Berlin by then.
Exactly. It was taken in Copenhagen.
I've read somewhere about a secret meeting just before Hahn published his nuclear fission findings.
Findings? Indeed. Hahn had no idea what he had found. The term nuclear fission didn't yet exist. I coined it in a note my aunt and I published that February.
All this time, you've had proof that Hahn didn't cut off all contact with Lise Meitner before his discovery.
Dear girl, proof is for rational people in rational times. In any case, I only came across the photo after my aunt's death.
And you've kept this to yourself all this time. You've given up.
Hardly. If I'd given up, would I sit here and let a young woman the age of my granddaughter scold me like a Prussian schoolmom?
That bad, huh?
Well, let's just say we're oddly paired. I'm not in the habit of looking back. I've chosen life, just as my Tante Lisa did, just as she would have wanted me to.
Lights down on Frisch and Dana, lights up on Lise Meitner in Berlin, Germany, in her laboratory, spring 1938, prepping for the day's work. Otto Hahn enters.
Ah, you're here early. How is the separations coming along? We can't afford to fall behind.
Have you slept?
Ah, who can sleep? Fermi and his team are charging ahead like a herd of mating bullocks.
With cutie Juliet hot on their heels.
You'd think it were a war, all of us firing off papers like cannonballs. Are we not on the same side, searching for the same answers?
A bit of friendly rivalry never hurts. The pace is picked up, that's all.
How's Edith?
Oh, I've arranged to stay at the sanatorium.
Oh, such a sensitive soul you married. I'll stop by on my way home and take her some chocolates.
Lisa.
You should hear of a flat for rent. The situation at my current residence has become a bit hostile.
Are you in danger?
I'm quite all right, Herr Hahn. I'm safe here, among friends. The streets are the real terror. One hears such stories beyond belief.
But Lisa.
I know, we're all under strain. Did you hear Goebbels' last tirade? And now with the Anschluss, how will I travel to conferences? And my Austrian passport, it's invalid.
Stop babbling. And listen to me. Nothing is the same as it was believable anymore. You've been denounced.
By whom? Surely not someone at the Institute.
A friend upstairs.
I should have known when he started wearing that greasy brown shirt to the laboratory. Denounced for what exactly?
Your bloodlines, what else? A friend at the ministry showed me the letter. The Jewess endangers the Institute.
I worked here from dawn till dusk, every day for more than 30 years. I built the physics section from its first stone.
Wake up, Lisa. Don't you see? To those people, you are a Jew, full stop.
But I barely know what Judaism is, even if I were a Jew. If they hate me so much, why did they let me stay on in 33?
Friend, we all thought it would blow over. Who could have imagined that a pear-shaped ignoramus like Hitler could keep the masses hypnotized year after year after year?
It may still blow over. There are decent Germans.
I wake up thinking it's all been a bad dream. I'll walk to the Institute and not see a single swastika. And we'll all gather in the basement and sing Brahms' Lieder like we used to,
It
remember?
wasn't that long ago.
It seems lifetimes.
The work, Otto. If they would just let me work. We are so close to a breakthrough. I feel it, nearer than my own hand. A force waiting to reveal itself. Now, we just need to get a handle on these results.
Whereas the decay schemes have been puzzling.
Yeah, but the more confounding the results, the more astonishing the eventual explanation it's bound to be.
Well, we all know that the nucleus can't emit anything heavier than an alpha particle.
Know or assume? Perhaps it's time we reconsider our assumptions.
I'm tired, Lisa. The relentless pressure to join the parties, the creeping idiocy I see all around me. If only we could shut ourselves in this laboratory and not come out until we've had all the answers, but we must face the facts. It's over. They want you out.
Just like that?
It's the law.
But how can something so lawless be a law? And what are you, a messenger boy?
Be reasonable, Lisa. Think of the Institute.
When have I ever thought of anything else?
Well, I've begun making inquiries abroad. Denmark, Holland, Sweden. You're sure to get offers.
I made a mistake. A terrible, terrible mistake. I should have left in 33.
Nonsense. Your prospects are still good.
I wasn't speaking of prospects. I never should have worked under this regime. Don't you see?
Isn't this a bit emotional?
Our beautiful results laid at the feet of bullies who drag us back into the dark ages of fear and superstition. In physics. Ha! Not one exceptional mind amongst them. No vision, no moral sense. By the time we are finished, the Institute won't be worth salvaging, and there won't be a single Jew left to be.
Lisa, you'll find a place. Our work will continue.
Yes, of course. Some things cannot be taken away. A friendship like ours. I know you don't like to talk about feelings, and perhaps there's no need to, as we know each other so well. But with rumors of war, I wouldn't want to leave things unsaid. Our years working together at the Institute, to me, they were the most beautiful part of my life. I would have told you sooner, only...
It wasn't our way.
No, but so much has changed. And now, these results, what are they trying to tell us?
Chemically, I can measure the reaction parameters, but the physical mechanisms...
Leave the physics to me.
Good. That's settled then.
It's just, I can't quite imagine myself in exile.
Since the Reich, we decent Germans are all exiles, even within these hallowed walls. Did you really think that science could save us?
No, Hanchen, but I thought, dared to think, that we might save science.
Lights down on Meitner and Hahn, lights up on Frisch and Dana, resuming their conversation.
Your aunt's relationship with Hahn, their friendship as she calls it. Some friend didn't once mention her in his Nobel acceptance speech, didn't cite her in papers. For years, to the end of his life, he edited her out of the story.
Well, that may be harsh. My aunt ceased to be an asset to Hahn, certainly. I don't doubt that he felt relieved to see her go when she did, but had she...
Couldn't he have stood up for her, prevented it?
not without placing his own position at risk. And in any case, not for long. There was no significant resistance in the German scientific community. Hahn, von Lau, even Strassmann, the most honest of that bunch, they grit their teeth and went along. In any case, if my aunt had not left when she did.
Yes, of course, the possibilities are too awful to think about.
Well, the mother of the atomic bomb, she was called after the war.
But your aunt staunchly refused to work on the bomb.
Harry Truman's idea of a compliment. The atomic bomb would be my aunt's crève coeur, her heartbreak for the rest of her life.
Well, I guess I should go.
Have I disappointed you, Dana? Life is so much messier than fiction. So many loose ends.
Disappointed? Not at all. Dissuaded? Not entirely.
Well, I didn't try very hard.
Is that Austrian for I like you, Dana? I like you too. Okay, so you gave me a hard time. Just remember, I will tell Lise Meitner's story.
If I could make a request.
Anything.
When you write this play of yours, resist the urge to depict my aunt as a victim. She would have hated that. She used to say to her students, life need not be easy so long as it is not empty. That was my tante Lisa.
Blackout,